Our opinions aren't too tough, rough, or gruff. We are proof that you don't have to be an expert to have an opinion. So just
Shut up and sit down.
This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff.
Ka-chow.
Hello.
It's always a fantastic day when we record. Joined by James, the Ohio Homer.
Hi.
The real medical degenerate, Alex.
That's me.
And me, Muff, chatting about things. Welcome to March, folks. March is upon us.
Yeah.
Women's History Month for those that care about what's going on in life, the world.
Well, I think we all should, right?
I think.
Right.
Should care. What are you going to do about the caring? TBD. We're going to see if the groundhog was right this month. 6 more weeks of winter.
It's starting to get a little warm out.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like,
Depends on what state you're in.
It's a friggin' heat wave today here. It's like 45 degrees.
Yeah, like Ohio, this is probably the pre-winter or post-winter summer, and then we'll get another winter.
You can call it Indian summer or something. Or no, that's at the end.
yeah,
I don't think you can call it that anymore.
Sorry. I don't know.
I'm confused.
I don't really know what the word I'm supposed to use then.
That's why I call it post-winter summer.
Post-winter. That just sounds confusing.
Well,
Indigenous summer, native summer.
Yeah, we'll work on it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend.
we'll workshop it.
I'll work it.
Workshop and go to the PC workshop. March Madness is right around the corner. This week, you have the conference championships, which lead into Selection Sunday.
Is there a date for that?
Sunday.
This Sunday?
No, it's after. It's not this Sunday.
Next
I
Sunday?
don't think you're right.
It's Sunday, March 13th.
Okay, whatever.
Sorry, I apologize, listeners. This is what happens when football is gone. We are disorganized.
So I said booty traps.
Well, I think we clarified.
Does anybody get that reference?
No.
Booty trap?
That's what I said, booty traps.
No, I missed it.
Sorry.
Do you want to elaborate at all, or are you just going to let it go?
Truffle Shuffle.
Oh, Goonies. I'm so mad because I knew that, and I almost said Goonies. And I'm like, if you're wrong, you sound like an a-hole. Damn it.
Nope, it's from the
I should
Goonies.
have stuck in my gut.
That
was Mom's favorite part.
The whiskey glasses rattling with ice.
What?
Guess which one of us has that?
I've always one glass of whiskey.
I usually don't hear it though.
Yeah, I did do
gambling
that.
problems. We may have drinking problems.
I don't have a drinking problem. I just was holding it. I moved it under my microphone. I'll move it to the other side of the desk where it usually is.
If you think you have a gambling or alcohol problem, you can call 1-800.
Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff, and we'll join you.
So at least you'll be in good company. The madness did start this past Saturday, though, in the basketball world with the top 6 teams going down for the first time in the history of the poll era.
Did Ohio State lose?
Yeah, Maryland.
I did not know. I apologize.
It was what do we call it? So you call it what are we going to call this? We need like a good alliterative name for this past Saturday. Solemn Saturday.
Yeah, solemn Saturday and Sunday. Solemn, sucky. No, it really wasn't. It was great for the watcher.
And this is the longest intro we've had, guys.
That's okay.
So
we're out of football talk. I mean, what do? We just have to ramble on the intro.
Let's just make it happen. I do believe I saw if somebody was at the time probably stupid enough to bet on all of those teams to be defeated on the money line, bet the underdogs. It was like a $30,000 payout.
I did bet Maryland +4, Jim. I can't lie to you. And I almost took the money line, but I didn't.
It's basketball. I mean, it is what it is.
I should have committed.
It is what it is.
Got to commit. In this episode, we're going to talk about the NFL. Welcome a couple of new segments because it's football off season. So we talk about what we can talk about. Let us know what you think about them. Spoiler alert, the interns are going to start to take a larger role in the show week to week.
I think it's time
we
we work
let
on
them.
it.
We'll see.
And you'll be introduced to my intern, who has yet to make an appearance.
New hire.
Hire is a loose term. Somebody that's part of the team. Maybe getting some credit through the college environment, TBD. The Olympics finished.
Wait, is he a real intern?
Just as much as every other intern we have.
Okay, good.
Okay. Let's be real. When we get to this point, remember what you just said, Jim, and remember what the task that's assigned to this intern is. Do you think I could assign that to a legitimate intern?
Well, when you start
in a
throwing
collegiate
college
environment?
credits, I mean, I'm just like, whoa. Did we get a real situation?
Yeah, we could.
Quick recap of the Olympics finish. Norway had the most medals, 37. Didn't see that one coming, but I guess me thinking about Winter Olympics makes sense. The Russian Olympic Committee,
cheating bastards,
32 medals.
Whoa,
Germany,
Jim.
27.
Don't rouse the Ruskies.
Canada with 26, and the USA finished with the fifth most medals at 25.
Probably sitting that one out. That's what we were doing.
Yep.
Are we like upset? We feel any sort of way?
Yeah, I am upset.
I'm upset that other countries beat us.
Yeah. Where's our nationalistic pride?
I'm questioning your Americahood.
I'm glad you both are using very great terms. My nationalistic pride, which has only to do with my blind allegiance towards the United States of America, and my Americanhood, which I think is judged by my citizenship, my place of birth.
Because you weren't mad about the Olympics, Muff. Because you weren't mad about the Olympics.
Who are we most mad about? That we got beat by? Or are we just mad that we didn't get first?
Who were we on that list? Who are we most mad about getting beat by?
I'm asking.
Russia.
Duh.
We didn't get beaten by Russia. We got beaten by the Russian Olympic Committee.
Which is Russians.
Cheating bastards.
I don't even care about Norway and Canada. Good on you. The other two.
Canada should be number one.
It's winter.
Norway should probably be in there.
I think Canada, Norway have the most, the northernmost climate situation. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll give them this. I thought you were just gonna say A. And I was like, get out of here, Muff.
But no, like 25.
Compared to 37 is the problem. If it was like,
come on.
If it was like 29, 28, 27, 26, and then we had 25, I wouldn't feel so bad about it. But I don't like that 37 at the top. We only got 25. We'll come back stronger than ever 4 years from now.
Did the figure skater from the ROC get any other medals?
I don't know. It's a good question.
But she didn't win the gold, that I know. The NFL Combine happening this week. Not hearing a lot about it. It has something to do with the protocols and people not deciding to participate because of that. And I think the Combine is becoming less and less of a thing.
Less of a thing. I mean, do we really need to see them work out? I mean, they're pretty much, I think COVID proved they don't really need to see. They have their minds made up.
I believe this is a Eastbound and Down quote. I'm not trying to be the best at exercising. I play real sports.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of fun to see like who jumps the highest and runs the fastest and all that. But
so the Raiders can decide their first round pick.
Exactly. How else are they going to F it up if we don't have something like, a little bait there for them?
Yeah.
They might actually like make a good pick this time. That would be detrimental for everyone.
It's true. As a reminder, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at SportsJimMuff, Facebook, sportsstuffw.Jim_Muff, and the same thing for the YouTube. That may have been the longest intro of all times, but you get what you get in the off season.
You do.
So let's get into the show. It's not the Beanbag Bop. It's not NFL week /
What week are we on?
recap. It's, how do we call this week? 18, 19, 20?
It's the off season.
Still sad.
It's the off season. So we could make this segment how many days until football starts.
Oh, that's a good one. Let's do that.
So it's like 190 some days till football starts right now. NFL football. Obviously, you get some college prior to that. So 190-ish days until football starts again. That's what the segment's going to be. Fair?
There we go. I like it.
All right. So this is where we're going to talk about some of the stuff that's happening in the NFL.
I agree.
Yeah.
We got some team news. We have some network news.
Let's say basically contracts, who's playing where,
Even some additions.
Who's stirring the pot, and who's going to be talking about it on TV.
I'm good with it. Let's do it.
First, the Chiefs. Let's say they retain but offer a 1-year contract to Eric Bieniemy to remain their offensive coordinator. Duh.
Yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer. I think the next move they make is what? Like, what are they doing?
They also hire former Bears head coach Matt Nagy as their quarterback coach.
So what is that? Is that to prepare for the enemy's eventual departure?
So Matt Nagy, I think, has a history of success working with quarterbacks.
Well, he doesn't have a history of success as a head coach, so he's got to be good at something, right?
I mean, something had to catch people's eye to get him to head coach,
exactly. Right? So let's take. I always make this argument. I've made it, I think, every week in the last how many weeks. Just because you're a good positions coach does not make you a good head coach. So go back to where you came from, what you're good at, and keep being good at it. Go out on top, not on bottom.
The answer to your question, Jim, is I have to believe this is potentially a precursor to
that's what I would think.
The anticipation of Eric Bieniemy getting some type of coaching gig in the next couple years, hopefully next year. Where is that going to be? That's going to be a big question. Like, there's a lot of turnover this year. Where's the next anvil going to drop?
I think they know more than we know.
Explain.
I'm still a big conspiracy theorist, as you know, and I think that's the whole reason Bieniemy didn't take a job this offseason. I think he knows there's going to be an opening in a spot that he likes next year.
How long is Andy Reid going to coach? Maybe Andy Reid's getting tired and he wants to get out.
That would be ideal for him. There's the Seattle situation that might come his way.
I just don't. I mean, yeah, that could be coming down the pike. I don't know. I mean, he's going to take what he can take. I'm sure he's not going to look a gift horse in the mouth if he gets a head coaching opportunity.
I don't know if that's true. Because I think he had chances at things. I think he shied away from him this year.
I agree with Jim on that. I have a hard time believing that not a single person reached out and was like, hey, look, you're the one we want.
Yeah.
He was either playing hard to get or just straight up turned it down.
So should the world be talking so much about him not getting a head coaching gig then?
I don't think so. I think this is one of those that I'm going to back off and stop talking about.
I think if he wanted a head coaching gig anywhere, he would do it. But I think he was like, being the head coach of insert team here is not as good for me as being the offensive coordinator at a great team like the Chiefs. So I'll just hang out here until one I want's available.
He's only on year-to-year situation in Kansas City too, so that's helpful. But yeah, we'll see what Matt Nagy does. Is Matt Nagy going to improve Patrick Mahomes? Like what?
I think so.
Okay.
I think with some time to just focus on quarterback play, I think he'll get a lot more credit for Pat Mahomes developing than we can imagine.
I don't know really how much development Pat Mahomes needs.
See, I think we're all on that. We all think he's the GOAT. He is a fantastic player.
I think you're the only one that ever called him the GOAT.
Okay. I think a lot of people think he's good.
He's good, yes.
But I think we forget he's young.
He is young.
And I think that with the right coaching, he can add a couple more tools in the old tool belt.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Come on, Muff. Get to your boy now. Come on.
The Green Bay Packers.
Yep.
The rumor mill is flying around. Aaron Rodgers wants to be the highest paid player in the league after, maybe connected, maybe not. His recent split from Shailene Woodley, which is also been up for debate in the conspiracy theorist world. I'm really interested to see how much Jim has dug into all the conspiracy theories around Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers also did a 10-day cleanse. I don't know. That's just of interest, just because. Greg Jennings came out last week and called Rodgers selfish with wanting to be one of these top paid players or the top paid player.
He's been the MVP 2 times. Sorry, it wasn't time yet.
Oh no, it's always time. Jennings also said that Rodgers told him in the past not to be that guy in relation to money and contract negotiations. Pat McAfee has said that this rumor of money demands were categorically false, as reported to McAfee by Aaron Rodgers. I really want to know what Jim thinks of all of this.
I don't believe he's a money guy.
Okay.
I do not believe he's a money guy. I think he's very much a respect guy. And he wants to be positioned with the right weapons and wants a lot of respect put on his name.
Oh, he's like Dave Lillard now.
I fully believe he's one of those players.
Yeah.
If he was a money guy, he'd have been gone already, I think, if they weren't paying him.
Yeah, right. And is this a money represents my value, or is this a I think that's the question. Like,
I don't think money is even a part of the conversation.
Okay. There have been some back and forth on this that is because this can happen. The source was anonymous that said he wanted to be the top paid player in the league. When you get anonymous sources, this could easily, in any case, in any situation, be a person from another team.
Oh,
an
I
anonymous
think people are
source.
starting the pot.
Right. So an anonymous source.
I think he is a fire starter. I think that he's.
Oh yeah. People
try to stir the pot to get him to go somewhere and do something. I wouldn't put it past the Packers to stir that pot.
So Bill's hanging out doing his thing.
I think they're trying to, have a reason to say, well, he wanted money. We couldn't pay Aaron. Is
this Bill Belichick in his text message situation found? Oh, I thought I sent this to another Adam, and he sent it to Adam Schefter.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. This is wrong Adam. By the way, Aaron Rodgers wants to be the highest paid player in the league. Oops.
Yeah.
Oops.
Here's my problem with that. If Aaron Rodgers, first of all, Aaron Rodgers has earned being the highest paid player in the league. It's not some like good but not great quarterback who's like, I deserve more money, blah, blah, blah. So he does deserve more money. If he said, hey, I deserve a little more money, that's fine. I don't think he put a number on it and was like, this is what you owe me. And I also think that when you're talking about the 2-time MVP at this point, he should be the highest paid player in the league. Like if you're just looking at who do you think should be paid more than him?
See, I got in this argument with Muff about the MVP thing too.
I think Cooper Kupp should have been the MVP this year.
I don't know that I could pay him highest paid player in the league. The age on him, I just don't think I could do it.
So who do you think deserves it?
I
don't know. It's a matter of deserve. It's just a matter of I got to worry about the rest of the team.
Yeah, this is an annual contract. Remember, Pat Mahomes has is the largest deal.
Yeah,
it's a $500 million, but it's over a period of time.
So if we're going for a year,
it's 50 mil was the number that's being reported. He wants 50 mil a year, which would make him the highest paid player for any individual year next year.
If I can afford that and get him the weapons and keep my team going after he gives me one more year, okay, here's the money. If I can't guarantee my future of my team going forward after, He's not getting a dime out of me more.
But I think he's older, but I don't think he's retiring in 2 years either. I think he's got a few more years under the belt.
He's a couple good hits away from the narrative changing.
So is Justin Fields. So is Joe Burrow.
But those guys are in that youthful age where like they can recover faster.
Fair enough. But yeah, as far as we all know, quarterbacks are where the money is. We'll see what this comes to be. This should be resolved before our next show comes out, because I think Rodgers is pretty steadfast in saying that he's going to make his decision before decisions need to be made for other players that, like Devontae Adams, that may have the franchise tag. So I think Devontae Adams is hoping that Rodgers stays for lower amounts of money and then sees what they can do with his deal. But we will see. Russ Wilson.
Ooh, Muff, you are the fire starter.
So Russ Wilson last week, at least on Twitter, removed all of his Seahawks items from his social media, as far as like in his bio. Apparently added it back to Instagram as I'm not gonna say a loyal listener, but a loyal Seahawks fan put it out to us on Twitter. And I just, wanted to poke the bear a little bit. Want to see what's going on. Where do we see Russ Wilson's situation moving forward?
So we had a loyal listener. That is confirmed that he listens to this podcast?
No, I said a loyal Seahawks fan. I would not anticipate a loyal listener.
How did that person find us?
Because
someone shared, commented, and reviewed.
I from the veil of the Sports Gym Muff Twitter account, made some inclinations about Russ Wilson's situation and used the beauty of hashtagging. And a loyal Seahawks fan who was searching the hashtag decided he wanted to exercise his right to speak freely and tell me that I was full of BS.
Whew. You started a war there.
Not really. It kind of just ended after a couple back and forths, but
I was just kind of pumped that someone found us.
Right?
Yeah. I think that I agree with your assessment that there is something to speak about on this. I mean, I agree with you.
Good. What is this about though? This is what I don't know. Is this in the end about Russ looking for contract? Russ looking for commitment from the organization? Like what Russ looking for? And this is the problem I have is they have a decent defense overall. They've supplied him with some weapons. I mean, they drafted DK Metcalf, who's been a positive addition to that team. They've kept Tyler Lockett around, who's been his safety blanket when he's healthy. They've had some injury problems, especially at the tight end position. And unfortunately, they've been having some issues at running back just with people staying healthy. So what is Russ looking for from Seattle?
I think he's one of those money quarterbacks.
He's looking for the money.
I think the missus is also helping look for the money.
Automatic, supersonic, hypnotic, funky fresh. Let me see Jim do the 1-2 step.
To be quite honest, and like maybe I'm a jerk, but it's nice. It's easy for Aaron. Is Aaron married?
No.
It's nice and easy as a non-married man to think about things from his perspective, and it's a different perspective when you're married with kids.
How do you know? Just kidding.
Because like he's chasing that paper.
Right.
He wants the respect, but that respect comes secondary. He also doesn't want to, walk around with a walker and chase his kids. So either you're going to pay me to do it so that my kids can have the happy life, and you're going to help me stay upright, or I'm going to go somewhere else.
But this is an upright situation. Like, is the offensive line that bad?
He took a lot of hits. He has to go mobile a lot.
Fair enough. Alex, any other thoughts?
Uh-uh.
Sean McVay tells the world he won't be trading the headset for the booth.
Yeah, that was a publicity stunt, I think.
What was all that? Was garbage.
There's a lot of people coming out after the fact being like, why would Sean McVay not really entertain this? Now, he's going to get probably twice the money for a large percentage less of the headaches that come week to week in coaching. Why wouldn't it be something for him to consider, given, what we're going to talk about next with Troy Aikman? I got to think if they're already talking about Sean McVay in this light, within the next few years, this could be a real thing that goes down.
I wouldn't listen.
Just Jim saying noise.
I'm not a fan of Sean McVay.
Really?
Not at all.
Because he's a winner?
Okay, Muff.
I was gonna ask why. I wasn't gonna ask it quite in that way.
Ask your way, Alex. Maybe you'll get a better response.
I was just gonna say, why don't you like him? I think kind of leave it open-ended.
I'm just not a big fan of like his personality and his demeanor.
Okay.
He comes off very Tony Romo-ish.
Okay, now I need you to pinpoint the characteristics that make them the same.
Very cocky.
Okay.
Okay.
You're entitled to your opinion. I can see it. I don't know that I necessarily think he's super cocky or anything, but I could see where you're coming from. That he has a little bit of that air, but has he earned it?
Jim, has he earned it?
When the NFL hands you a Super Bowl, sure.
Oh, the NFL hands you a Super Bowl. They hand you a Super Bowl.
Sure.
He had nothing to do with coaching,
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna die on that hill. So you're not gonna get me off of it.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, Troy Aikman signs a 3-year, $90 million deal with ESPN to lead the booth for Monday Night Football. Rumors also in play that Joe Buck is being courted to join Aikman and ESPN, and Al Michaels has also been rumored to be a viable option moving forward. So Aikman's there. Who do we want to see with Troy Aikman in the booth? Whether it's Al Michaels, Joe Buck, or other.
I don't care. If they still give me the Peyton Manning and Eli Manning option, that's the one I'll be watching.
So that was actually a discussion I've seen out there. Like, why are you spending this much money for the main booth whenever you have a large number of people that are also tuning into the Manning cast? Wouldn't you want to spread out the love a little bit, right? Like, why spend all of this money for Troy Aikman whenever you may have like 20-25% of the people not even watching him?
Well, why don't you buddy up somehow?
I think there's a large percentage of people watching Monday Night Football and football in general who need the classic 3-man booth, play-by-play. They need that.
I don't think like my grandpa would understand or appreciate the Manning cast.
Not one bit. My dad either.
See,
not one bit.
Yeah. Like my pap's 85 years old, loves football and watches all the games, but I don't think that he would. I think if we watch Manning cast, he would be like, well, I would get way too many phone calls. Like, what are they talking about? They said this, like, I don't get it. Like, he just needs football.
Not speaking particularly to those two people you brought up, but is as a percentage, maybe a majority percentage of those that need to see that traditional booth, the same that were curious why the Commanders had to become the Commanders.
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
I think that's a different.
As far as my one of the two, absolutely.
Oh no, I was taking your two examples out of play and just saying.
Oh, I'm just adding mine back into play and just confirming.
No, I think it's more people like the. I mean, if my dad had his way, he wouldn't let anybody talk. He would just watch the football game, quite frankly. But people don't necessarily that generation and generation before my dad like the traditional football. Like they don't get the entertainment, the sideshow part of it. They don't want the storylines. They don't want to hear the in-depth backstory and how things played out. They want the sport.
They don't need to know why things are happening. They just want to know that they happened and somebody's telling them that it happened.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm just playing devil's advocate to it should all just be the Manning cast, because if it was up to me and people that thought like me, we would just all do Manning cast. It'd be fun and whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
But I know that there's so many people, like Jim said, that don't want all that extra fluff. They just want.
And I think it's Monday Night Football. Like Sundays, that makes sense to me that we're just doing the regular booth because it's like I got things to do. I'm trying to,
Yeah. I think
Monday night is prime time. Like I'm sitting down to watch the game. I want that entertainment value because there's 100 other things that can distract me on Monday night to get my eye. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I know like people are gonna make fun of me, but like pro wrestling is competing for my eye. There's a lot of money spent on pro wrestling to compete against Monday Night Football. There's basketball games on. There's hockey games on. There's all kinds of things, not to mention regular TV, Netflix. So, like, I get why Manning's successful on Monday night. I'm with why are we spending money on Troy Aikman on Monday?
So back to the original question. Not that I think this would be a good duo, but I think it reaches different demographics. Give me Mike Gold Jr.
No.
With Troy Aikman.
No. Put Booger in there if you want entertainment.
Oh. Booger already had his shot on Monday night,
but not with Troy Aikman.
I think that I don't know if that's Booger's gig. He couldn't even make the Booger machine or whatever that was called.
What about Mike Sr.?
I don't think Mike Sr. wants that life.
Probably not. But like from a fan perspective, those two together wouldn't be bad.
Right, and this comes back to what is Aikman's role? Is he the play-by-play or is he the commentator? He's traditionally been the commentator, not the play-by-play, and neither of those other options we talked about are the play-by-play. I think that's the issue here.
So you need the commentator is what you're saying.
No, I think Aikman's the commentator. The fact that Joe Buck and Al Michaels are the rumors, they want the play-by-play to go with Aikman. Aikman's not the play-by-play.
Who's the Steelers player that's on the morning shows? He was a corner.
You're talking about Ryan Clark, DB? Clark.
I want him in there. If I have to pick,
he's pretty blunt. I do like that about him.
I love the way he delivers everything.
As you don't have the play-by-play, which means you're probably getting. As I'm saying, this turns more into like a Manning type booth, right? That's just commenting on the game without that traditional play-by-play. So that's it's. I'm just saying it's outside of the norm. I'm not saying I don't disagree with what you're saying. I have no problems if that's the way it goes to be. I'm just saying
we've gone long on this. I think I'm over it.
Anything else from the NFL? Thoughts? Things going on?
Didn't
you say something right before we got started, Jim, about another NFL thing? Kyler Murray?
Oh yeah, there's Kyler Murray. You know, you got the scoop on that one. You did the work on that one.
Twitter told me that Kyler Murray and his agent have sent contract things to the Cardinals brass for consideration. I don't know how Kyler Murray can be dictating terms to the management in Arizona as being part of a team, granted this year more ravaged by injuries in the second half of the season, that falls flat on its face in the second half of the season the past 2 years. How can you then dictate to a team what you need in order to stay a part of that team? I get it that you may not, there's no been a whole bunch of options right now for them to chat about, but I don't think he's in a position to be making that. I mean, I get it, shoot your shot, but what if they turn you down and say, oh, well, I mean, they've already shown that they're not afraid to get rid of a quarterback if it's not, they don't think it's the answer, aka Josh Rosen. That's how Kyler Murray got there.
Different. That's very different.
I mean, I understand he was much significantly more terrible quarterback. But they've just shown that they're not afraid to pull the trigger on somebody if they don't think they're the right fit.
think you ask for what you want and take what you can get.
Yeah, I'm with that.
So like I think as long as he's willing to say like I'm going to ask over the top. Like when you're selling a house, you ask for, 150 and someone comes back at 142 and you're like 144.
You're in the wrong housing market. That's not how that works anymore, but yeah, you get your general point.
Okay.
You ask for
Goes
140
the other
now.
way.
They're like, here's 200.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Also on NFL news, Stephen Jones says the Cowboys are A-OK. And despite the lawsuit with the cheerleaders for the voyeurism from an executive and, his sister being spotted, being videotaped by this pervert.
Are you talking about Jerry's daughter?
Yeah, Jerry's daughter.
No, nobody's sister.
Isn't Stephen Jones her
Son?
brother?
Oh, you're talking about
Yeah.
that from that perspective. Got it.
Yeah. So, but Steven says everything's A-OK.
What's Steven's role on the team?
He's a vice president.
Of what?
Them boys.
Them boys.
Isn't that how this works?
A-OK.
He's vice president of nepotism in Dallas.
Oh, yikes.
Let me tell you, if that happened to my sister, things would not be A-OK.
Yeah, right.
Not A-OK. I don't even like my sisters that much. I mean, I love them, but I don't like them that much, and it still would not be A-OK.
My question is, do you still use Mojo Moments next year, given this lawsuit?
Was that just for the TV?
It was for
Hard
HBO
Knocks?
Hard Knocks, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Hard Knocks isn't there anymore. What do you move on? You find a new shtick.
Okay.
What was that going to be? I don't know.
All
Jerry's. I don't know. I don't know any good alliterative terms for Jerry.
And last for the off-season news, for the hope and something for us to look forward to, the Raiders and the Jaguars will be playing in the Hall of Fame game.
When was the hope and something to look forward to?
Yeah, I was waiting for
sarcasm. It was sarcasm.
I figured.
Very much.
There you go.
That's 190-ish days till football for this week. Stay tuned next week when it'll be 180-ish days till football. And so on down the line.
This is Quick Thoughts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Quick Thoughts. Today we have.
I gotta have the fans know a little peek behind the scenes. So, if you've paid attention, we always stop, do a little break. Then we have to say, how does this start? And we work through the intro. But I say, this is Quick Thoughts. And then we have to pause so Muff can throw in the gong that you hear. But as we pause, all three of us do a little head bob, like bobbleheads. And we do it in unison, like dong, and our head shake. And I just wanted you to know that, like, it's probably the cutest thing. We should probably put it on YouTube of the three of us just shaking our heads. For no reason. There's no sound. We can't hear the gong.
We're simpatico. We hear it in our hearts.
We hear it in our own hearts. Yeah, exactly. But go ahead, Alex.
All right. So moving on to Quick Thoughts this week. We start with the women's soccer team of the United States of America.
Good.
The women's soccer team was awarded $24 million settlement after a 3-year battle with U.S. Soccer over gender discrimination and equal pay and working conditions. A little insight onto specifics. $22 million is to be split amongst the players named in the suit. $2 million for charities and post-career goals. Each player may apply for up to $50,000. U.S. Soccer promises equal pay rates in the future for men's and women's soccer for all games and tournaments, including the World Cup, and bonuses for the women's and men's team, which used to differ by thousands of dollars, will be more even going forward. Thoughts? Jim?
How many players were named in the suit? I don't know. Like, unless it was 22 players, it still doesn't seem very fair to me. Like, that number should probably be larger. I'm glad this is some progress. I don't know I've never watched a single U.S. men's soccer ever, but I have watched the women's. They're entertaining. they've brought a lot of notoriety to soccer for me, so I feel like they deserve more money because they're doing their job.
Muff?
I don't know how many players were in the suit, Jim, but I can tell you one that wasn't, and that's Hope Solo, and she's not happy about it.
Is that right?
Is that
Yeah,
because she beat up her husband?
I don't think that helped the cause. I don't know the specific reason. I don't know if it was timing or it was because she was no longer a part of the team because of that whole situation. My biggest concern, aside from what Jim has already mentioned, is that the bonuses for the men's and women teams, which used to differ by thousands, if I had to guess, probably tens of thousands of dollars, will be more equal and even going forward. Why can't we? Obviously, there's going to be a gap there already. I think it's established by saying they will be more even going forward and not saying that they will be equal moving forward is the biggest problem I have. Why can't we just say going to be equal? There's more money behind the men's team overall, whether that's by sponsorships and all of that. That's just the reality. But at least I think this is a victory for the women's team to start to move towards full equality in the situation. So it's a good move and a step forward. U.S. Soccer's it was forced to pay the settlement, which I think people didn't think was going to happen from the beginning. I think they thought there was going to be a settlement, but I don't think people thought it was going to be for this amount of money.
I like it. Any rebuttals for you, Jim?
No.
I think y'all had good points. Moving on to this league, the NBA, New York Mayor Eric Adams is planning to end the COVID vaccine mandate in the coming weeks, paving the way for Kyrie Irving to play full-time for the Nets. Thoughts, Muff?
This is one of the funniest things I've heard in the past week. That part of the reason that James Harden rumoredly wanted to leave was because, Kyrie Irving was a part-time player. And he wasn't on board with that. James Harden leaves, goes to the Sixers, and it looks like Kyrie Irving's going to become a full-time player. Kevin Durant's still hurt. But that was part of the James Harden issue with the Brooklyn situation. And as soon as he leaves, this is the stuff that happens. So I just think it's funny from that perspective. And Kyrie, it's time for him to get back to playing full-time once that goes down. So get pumped. Get pumped for Brooklyn.
Thoughts, Jim?
It's cool that, James Harden's gone. And cool for the Nets. I don't know how I feel about these whole mandates being lifted. I know that we try to avoid getting political and whatnot, but I went to Target without a mask and it felt uncomfortable.
That was a choice that you made, though.
I did. I quickly ran back to my car and got a mask. I'm not gonna lie to you. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out.
I like it. I actually did some research into that too. I had a thing of why are we lifting the mandates? And apparently they aren't yet, but they're hoping to soon. And they have number targets in mind, like how many per 10,000 people are testing positive and such. So it's not necessarily saying there's a hard date, but they're hoping to. So hopefully that they hit that number, because that means good things for everyone, not just New York. So, but I agree. I had the same thoughts as Jim on that one. All right, moving on to another NBA news. Actually, I almost skipped it. Speaking of James Harden debuts for the 76ers last Friday against the Timberwolves, and his stat line was 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 12 assists, which is above his season average in all categories. He followed up with a triple-double against the Knicks on Sunday with 29 points, 10 rebounds, and 16 assists. Thoughts on that, Jim?
Harden's good. We're not discrediting his abilities. We're just discrediting his ability to be a teammate. He's a great basketball player. His desire to be a team player is shit, and he kind of just pouts his way until he gets what he wants.
Muff?
I think like James Harden in my mind is somebody that's constantly looking for the honeymoon phase in a situation. Because he was super excited to be at Brooklyn when he, pretty much forced his. And now he's super excited in Philadelphia, which he's got a whole different situation with Joel Embiid. I'm just curious what's going to happen when the honeymoon phase ends in Philadelphia, because if there's one thing we know about Philadelphia, if James Harden starts to be less than motivated to play, Philadelphia fans will let him know about it.
Yeah.
I think I had to laugh. I thought about the Embiid. Joel Embiid is thriving with Harden, though, in those 2 games, too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Harden's assist numbers are through the roof, and Embiid's points are through the roof. So I think there's something good there brewing.
Until Harden decides he doesn't want to be there.
That's true. I did hear something. I don't remember. Another, sports journalism folk was talking about James Harden saying that he was a good teammate. And he said, it's like when you have to start saying, oh, I'm a good dad, I'm a good husband, I'm a good teacher. Like at some point when you have to say it for people to think about it, you're probably not.
Yes.
If people weren't saying it on their own. But then the argument was, look how many assists he's had. And I'm like, yeah, but 2 games. We'll see. We'll see how that shakes out. Let's move over to baseball. What do you say? Something a little more, upbeat and exciting. Baseball. Spring
upbeat
training.
Upbeat and exciting. Okay.
Spring training games continue to be canceled. But Rob Manfred has finally arrived to the table, showing his face for the first time since 2020 in regards to the labor discussions, meeting with the MLBPA rep Tony Clark last Friday. Owners are looking at a draft lottery system similar to the NBA, where all non-playoff teams would have a shot at the top 4 picks to disincentivize tanking. Players counter wanting top 7 picks to be in play as a lottery system instead of the top 4. Let's start. Well, how about the thoughts on that?
I think it's me.
Yeah, I think it's Muff.
Yeah, disincentivize tanking. I mean, I think baseball is one of the, easiest to make roster moves at the end of the season that lead to tanking without being as upfront about trying to tank. I mean, you can bring up minor leaguers, you can do all that. Like, that's a big thing in baseball that happens at the end of the year, and you see people tanking. The only thing is, in baseball, the incentive to tank doesn't usually work out as much. You remember this time in baseball, if you get the first pick and people think it's out of the park first round pick, a home run, whatever you want to call it, you're probably not going to see that person in the majors for 2, 3, 4 years. They're still in that development phase. So I think saying that this disincentivizes tanking doesn't do much, because you can get a fantastic major league ball player in whatever, around 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. As long as your player development's good. So I think it really is going to disincentivize tanking. But I mean, happy that Rob Manfred finally came to the table. I mean, he only gets drug on the internet every day for how terrible of a commissioner he is. So at least he's going to pony up and own up to it.
Jim?
I don't care.
Any rebuttal, Muff?
Glad we have a sports discussion-based podcast where somebody doesn't care.
When sports actually matter, when they're actually playing, then I'll care, but I don't care.
So the next part has a lot of big words, so I'm just going to read it, and if we have any thoughts about it, we'll talk about it. Much of the talks have centered on
big words.
Much of the talks have centered on money for players, in which owners are not as excited about giving up portions of their billions, with topics centered around competitive balance tax. Yes, exactly. As Pirates said, thank you. Big word number 1, competitive balance tax. Average player salary above a certain money, that team is penalized. A loose salary cap. Big word number 2, arbitration eligibility. Think of the Chris Bryant situation. Big word number 3-ish, revenue sharing, giving the workers more money. The only one that I really have a concept on is giving the workers more money, and I'm like, I'm a Pirates fan. All I've asked for the last however many years that the Nuttings have been in charge is to give the players more money, make them stay.
No,
Muff, do you have any comments on the rest of the things?
All right. So the competitive balance tax is pretty much the haves versus the have-nots, or at least those that are willing to spend, which we all know where the Pirates end. This is there is a loose salary cap where if your payroll goes above a certain amount, you are penalized. So it gives you incentive to stay below this loose salary cap. But again, if you stay below it, you get the incentives that the Pirates of the world get, which is like, oh, revenue sharing. Cool. We get more money. If you go above it, you have to pay more money. But you're also probably a better competitor for the World Series, a la New York Yankees.
Thoughts, Jim?
So what are we arguing over?
That this is exactly what they're arguing over. I want to say the players are on the side of having a more established salary cap. Or let me phrase that. I think they both are to some degree. I think this is the lesser of all of the issues as far as the sides discussing. If you had the players probably don't want any type of salary cap. Well, just let people spend as much money as they want to. But the owners thrive in the other way. So I really don't know where that one is. The arbitration eligibility is definitely a player-led discussion. The Chris Bryant situation being referenced is he was called up to the major leagues based on his contract on the day that allowed him to play one game fewer than would have incentivized him to earn millions of dollars in contract incentives. And the Cubs did it on purpose in that situation, so they did not have to pay him millions of dollars, even though they wanted to bring him up in that season, but knew the ins and outs of his contract. And it all had to do with like the years of service that comes down to, and it's all based on the number of games you play. And the players are saying, we need to rework that. It shouldn't be based necessarily on games played. So theoretically, a rookie of the year could not earn a year of service and get eligible for certain bonuses based on that. So that's another player sticking. And then revenue sharing, we already know where that is.
Chris Bryant did not take off his shirt and jump around in the end zone waving his arms because he missed his. Wasn't that the argument at one point that Antonio Brown missed his
yes
his bonuses?
He did miss him, but he said he was hurt and they're making him play hurt.
Exactly.
I guess my whole point is like, no one really understands. If I'm a baseball fan,
right,
and I'm not talking like I'm keeping the book and I'm tracking the stats. I'm talking about casual baseball fan. I don't think anybody really knows the score. Like between the owners and the baseball team.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Nobody really understands. We just know that they're bitching over money and they're all way overpaid. Everybody, the rich are arguing with the rich.
And that's I think that's the thing that the players are trying to get rid of is, yes, it is, the highest paid players are that, but you remember, you're also talking about the minor league players that we've talked about that.
And you're right. They're trying to spin that narrative, but like, it's hard when we've glamorized these $300 million contracts up until this point. So when the baseball comes to an end and we have the strike, nobody's really looking forward to like, hey, please bring our pastime back, please. Like, I'm sure there's a sect of people out there that want their baseball back, but like, I could care less.
Could care less?
I don't care.
You couldn't care less.
I just don't care.
Do not care one bit. Alex, any thoughts on baseball?
Nope.
Okay, I'm glad you both are up for discussion on baseball today. I think next week we bring baseball guru Hugh to talk a little bit more about baseball.
Probably for the best.
Yeah.
So, wrap it up, Alex. Wrap up your.
All right. Wrapping up
thoughts.
quick thoughts. I awarded a couple points today. I gave 1 point originally to Jim because in the talk about women's soccer, he mentioned how many players are actually getting settlements. I didn't think about dividing that number by the number of players. I was just like, that's a good number. But then he said that and it brought me down a notch. And I gave a point to Muff in that segment as well, because he mentioned, why can't we just say that they will be paid equally from here on out? Why do we have to say more equally? I gave a point to Muff because he was talking about James Harden loving the honeymoon phase.
That was a good line. That was a good line.
I did. I like that. I've never heard anyone talk about like a player liking the honeymoon phase, but I thought that was a good point. So I gave you a point there. But then I took away a point when we were talking about baseball and disincentivizing tanking, because it has to disincentivize tanking in some way, because there's no reason to tank if you're just going to get thrown in a lottery. That's the luck of the draw. If your options are lottery or playoffs, you're obviously going to play for the playoffs. And once you're not out of contention, there's no reason to tank. So you don't get more lottery votes because you're lower.
Yeah,
so I just thought
percentage. You have a higher percentage.
Oh, well, then I don't know how the lottery works. But
that's how the NBA lottery works too.
I took your
point. If you're last, you get like 30%.
Oh.
And then it just, yeah.
Well, I don't give your point back because I already took it away. So it's a tie.
I don't.
Okay.
So my rebuttal means nothing?
Your rebuttal means something to me mentally, but I already signed this piece, wrote this piece of paper, and there was a nice little chart, and you're never going to see it, but I just don't want to mess it up.
So the cookie crumbles, Muff.
It's a tie.
It's not going to be a tie because I'm about to lose another point. I question your integrity in this process now, and the fact that you are taking away points because you have less knowledge of the situation which you're speaking on.
-2 because Muff called me dumb. Jim wins.
I called you dishonorable more than dumb.
That's even worse, Muff.
I don't know how to feel right now. Can we end this segment quickly?
That ends Quick Thoughts. You've heard us talk about them. They've been guests on the betting show. But now, the interns take center stage.
Hey, how you doing? It's nice to have our own little time here when we can talk about things.
That's Mac.
Yeah. Oh.
Bernard, you talk too quiet. Why are you always talking like that?
I'm not out of my whole. Yeah.
Did you meet the new guy yet?
I've not. No.
Yo, it's Kev here. I'm just here to have a good time and tell y'all what's up with life.
All right. So as you guys can hear, that is our 3 interns. That was Muff's intern, Kev. Kev, why don't you say a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Kev. I'm a 20-something jokester, just willing to do whatever we got to do to get the job done. I also talk to Muffnack a lot. And, sometimes I go in and out of accents because I'm just a super chill guy.
All right. Bernard, I'll let you go next. What do you say? No, you're a little shy. I'll go. We'll come back to you, Bernard. Hi, I'm Mac. You met me before. I'm a 40-something-year-old nerd. I'm not going to lie about it. I love all things weather and facts. So I'll work real hard for you as long as you give me some free coffee in the break room. I don't ask for much. What do you say?
Yeah.
Okay. Bernard's back in the fold here.
Yes. They keep me in the basement near the computers. I'm very pale. I'm very reluctant to get near the fun or socialize with people.
Do you like staplers?
I do like staplers.
Okay. So the new segment is going to be us assigning tasks to our different interns for the week ahead or the week that was. And then we will week to week recap how those tasks went. So
Dear football, please come back.
You have to tune in next week to see what the outcome of this was. So we'll start out with Kev's task. My intern Kev. Again, he's channeling the inner degenerate that is me, Muff. Kev's task this week is all about James Harden. So we all know that James Harden is in Philadelphia now. So Kev's task for the week is to find all of the strip clubs that James Harden visits and report back to the group next week on his thoughts on those different establishments and where this group would go if they ever found their way to Philadelphia and looking for a club of the night. So, Kev, what do you think? Yo, this task is going to be the best.
Get on it, Kev. Get on it.
Well done, Kev. Well done. Make sure you wear a hat.
Jim, your turn, buddy. Bernard's got a task. What's Bernard's task?
I have tasked Bernard with scouring TikTok, Twitter, and the Gram for all things that start with the letter R. So that's Russell Westbrook, Russia, and racing.
Those are all the things that start with R.
That I'm interested in, yes.
Okay. Just based on your interest, or does Bernard have some artistic freedom here?
Bernard has no freedom.
He lives in the basement.
He lives in the basement.
All right. And I tasked my intern.
How does Bernard feel about this?
Oh, sorry.
We tell Bernard how he feels, so he's good.
Okay.
We tell Bernard how he feel like we're gonna have like CPS or something on us. Is that a thing? All right. And I had my intern, Mac. I wanted him to travel to Canada this week. I was thinking about the cold, and I wanted to see what the weather requirements are and in what maintenance is necessary to have and maintain one of those cool at-home ice skating rinks. You always see the Canadian real good hockey players with all that agility and stuff that work on them in the backyard. I watched a really cool video on him the other day, thought about it, and I was like, that's a perfect task for Mac. And Mac here, I just wanted to say that I'm really excited about this. You know, I like nature and I like to see Canada, and I like the weather. So I talked about the cold and whatever Alex wants. I'm pretty much submissive to doing a good job. Just remember, coffee in the break room.
Mac, where are you going?
I'm going to Canada.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, sometimes I get really excited about my task and I slip up my words a little bit, you know?
It's fine.
Does Mac have to work through like a blockade? Does that still happen in Canada?
He's got his ways.
Okay.
I'm real sneaky like, you know? I get in the back of one of them, the truckers' little cab things. I have a deal worked out where I'm going to pay a small fee, and they got them little beds back there. You ever seen them little private rooms? I found some guy that just kind of parked his, and he's staying at the Super 8 down the street. So I'm just going to use his little room and pay half what it would cost to stay in the hotel. I got it all figured out. It's going to be great. I'll get back to you guys next week.
Oh, this is the intern's task for this week. Kev, Bernard, and Mac going out into the, well, let me rephrase that. Kev and Mac going out into the world. Bernard actively not going out into the world. In fact, maybe disincentivized in every way possible to go out into the world from Jim.
He doesn't like people. He just hangs out in the basement. It'll be fine.
Is that because that's what you told him to be?
Yeah.
So that's new segment number 1. We'll see. These may not all make the cut week to week, folks. It's a TBD. This week in sports.
No. Bernard's got some gold. What? Follow our social media to see some of the gold that Bernard's already got cooked up.
There you go. At Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter. Get pumped. Another new segment that we're gonna test drive today is a This Week in Sports, where we talk about some things that have happened in sports history within the next week. See where it takes us. So we're gonna start out March 1st. This Week in Sports, March 1st. In 1910, the National Baseball Commission prohibits giving mementos to players winning World Series teams, which means they couldn't get anything. So no rings, nothing, watches. The decision was later reversed, making way for the traditional winners' items, watches, rings, and other types of apparel. So there was a time when the winners got nothing. Amateurism at its finest. It's like the Olympic Games, except there weren't even any medals.
Huh.
So in 1910, in the last century, well, a little bit more outside of the last century, but during the last century,
close
as far as the 20th century, in a century in which we were all born. Yeah.
Yeah.
March 2nd. This goes all the way back to 1896. Alex has done some extensive research to put a little bit more light to what all of this means. In 1896, on March 2nd, the best 9-wicket haul in cricket history by George Lohman takes 928 as England beats South Africa by innings and 197 runs in the second test at Johannesburg.
So
there's a lot to unpack in this, and Alex has done a fantastic job trying to break this down for everyone that's listening that knows nothing about cricket.
I have unpacked part of this. I had no idea where to go from this, but I thought that because we're Sportscat podcast and we're relatively inclusive. I want to say conclusive, inclusive. I thought I'd give you some tips. So first of all, a 9-wicket haul means that a bowler takes 9 or more wickets in a single inning. Now I had to look, how good is that? Well, apparently a 5-wicket haul is a notable achievement in cricket. 3 players in cricket history have taken 10 wickets. That would be Jim Laker, Anil Kumble, and Ajaz Patel. I'm sure that I butchered those names, but trying to give credit where credit's due. There have been 17 9-wicket hauls in the history of the sport. Now, I had to go back and I just wanted the basic rules of cricket because in my mind, I have the picture of what you see on TV of the cricket team. So here's my quick down and dirty, some small details about cricket because holy crap, are there a lot of rules and terms. So laws of cricket, the basics. Number 1, they're called laws, not rules. And you always have to have a capital L when you write out laws of cricket, just to give you an idea of how specific this game is.
These are laws like gravity.
Yes,
Unchanging.
They cannot be broken. They've only been changed like 7 times in the history of cricket. So laws of cricket. There are 2 teams of 11 players. One team is batting and one team is bowling. Bowling, aka fielding. We would think of it as a pitcher is the bowler. The bowler bowls to the batman. Now, in the last, I can't remember if it's the last rule change or the rule change before that, they changed the term Batman to batter for gender neutral terms because women are now playing cricket as well.
Well, that and they kept singing that damn theme song.
Batman. No.
Sorry,
Batman.
dad joke.
Bats must be wooden. At one point in time, there was a man who tried to make an aluminum cricket bat. That did not go over well with the rule guys. So bats must be wooden, and they must use the same ball for the entire match unless it is lost. If the ball is lost, you have to replace that ball with something of equal wear and tear, because apparently the wear and tear of the ball throughout the game is a factor that is accounted for by the strategists of cricket. Ways to get fielders, the ways that the fielders can get the batter out. 1, hitting wickets with the ball while bowling, which is like this 3 wooden peg thing. Catching a batter's shot, quote unquote, on the full. I have determined just by context clues that would mean on the fly. Hitting the batter's leg in front of the wicket. Hitting wickets before the batter can run to the other end of the pitch. Ways that batters can score runs include hitting the ball and running between the wickets to get to the other end of the pitch before fielders can hit the wickets with the ball. Each time you run 1 full length of the pitch, you get 1 run. If you hit the ball on the ground to the boundary, you get 4 runs. And if you hit the ball on the full over the boundary, which is why I used my context clues to assume that meant on the fly, you get 6 runs. A fielding team needs 10 outs for the sides to change. Now, some games play 1 inning and they get 1 turn to bat and 1 turn to field, and you just go by however many runs. Some choose 2 innings. And then there was a bunch of other possible rules that I could not possibly begin to explain to you without taking up the entirety of the show. So that's your basic little cricket breakdown. Maybe spark your interest into looking into it a little more. We can move to March 3rd now.
Cricket matches can last days.
Yeah.
It's like that sport.
Yeah.
So, Jim, next time you have concerns about baseball, just remember the cricket can last days.
Yeah, but still probably a little bit better than baseball.
I charge us all to try and watch some cricket on the Ocho or whatever channel it may be on. Not sure. March 3rd, in 1950, on March 3rd, the National American Football League reverts back to calling itself the NFL after 3 months.
That's because the National American Football League is stupid. National, it means national. Is there other National Canadian Football League and National, I guess, CFL, but National Russian Football League, National Mexican Football League, it's just NFL. Everyone knows it's American football. All right, I'm taking March 4th because I did a little more research here too. I went down some rabbit holes on these. My intern Matt gave me some of these stats and facts. But he's already off on his way to Canada, so I'm gonna go ahead and report for him. March 4th in 1927, Babe Ruth became the highest paid player in MLB history when he signed a 3-year, $70,000 per season contract with the New York Yankees. So I was curious and tasked Mac with this last week about finding out some MLB salary stats. So we have per Forbes, 2021's highest paid player was the New York Mets shortstop Francisco Lindor at $45.3 million. So he made $22.3 million salary for the year, and he got a $21 million signing bonus plus $2 million off-field earnings. If you're looking at a 3-year deal comparison, then the LA Dodgers pitcher Trevor Bauer signed a $102 million 3-year deal. So $70,000 3-year deal in 1927, 2021, $102 million 3-year deal. So I got curious a little farther and found some random inflation calculator online. If this is wrong, it's a random inflation calculator online, but it seemed kind of legit. So $70,000 in 1927 is equivalent to approximately $1.1 million in 2021.
$1,000,000.
So you're looking at players making 100% more money today.
45 times more. Yeah.
Yeah. So, wow. Things have changed.
All right.
So, wow.
Wow.
I don't think billionaires were in charge of baseball at that time.
Exactly. No, and there weren't all these TV deals, and I mean, even that's just your baseball salary. That's not counting all these guys. Like I said, the $2 million off-field earnings of Francisco Lindor. Like that's not counting your Nike contracts and commercials and all that. That's just your baseball earnings.
Think about what Babe Ruth could have done with like a hot dog contract.
Yeah.
Well, my thing too is what would Babe Ruth have done with $102 million?
Not play baseball.
Well, I know, but like, what would you
retired.
buy back then? You didn't have, Macs and AirPods and I don't know, a fancy car. But other than that, like what? What do you do with that money? World was simpler. It was better.
That's a little peek into Alex's mind. On March 6th, we've got a couple birthdays of note. Willie Stargell and Shaq.
That's how I beat Shaq. Boom, boom. I put it in the hoop box. Slam, slam. Get the crowd screaming out, jam, jam. Anyone?
Thanks, Aaron Carter.
Thank you.
Is that the second time we've had a little riff off? Or not a riff off, but a riff.
This episode has gone off the rails.
I did some Sierra earlier.
Sierra.
Let's get to the end.
Jim doesn't have any songs that he wants to plug in here?
No.
On March 7th, not done yet. March 7th, in 1857, baseball decided to make an official game 9 innings instead of 9 runs.
I almost put in here the question of, do you think it should be, how many innings do you think it should be? But I did not want to give Jim the glory of answering his answer.
So you can think about it, in the home run era, I feel like 9 runs has an opportunity to make for like games that last on average shorter periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jim, would you want to revert back to the 9-run situation? Especially the DH, universal DH this year.
Yeah.
I kind of think they should be 7 innings.
If you've made it to the end of this episode, First person to DM me gets $5. First person to DM me if you made it to the end of this episode.
What you trying to say, Jim?
This has been a long, tedious journey.
It hasn't been that long. It's
I
been tedious. Tedious for you. He's looking at TikToks the whole time, not even listening to the conversation.
I've been helping Bernard with his task.
we have a fun sucker in our midst.
Been helping Bernard with his task.
Jim's all upset because there's no football. I feel like new segment alert. Jim's going to talk about what he's done aside from think about other things to talk about other than football.
It's probably more interesting than all this baseball talk.
So really, let's get down to it. The reason that Jim has felt like this episode was long and tedious is because we talked about baseball.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's not another elephant in the room as far as a conversation you want to have, Jim, that we're not going to have here.
No, not right now.
No.
So basically, when we hang up with you guys, we're gonna get it from Jim about something.
No, you're good.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening to this week's installment of Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. Get ready in the coming weeks as we will have an additional betting episode for March Madness, where, as promised, I will discuss a bet on every first round game matchup in the instant bet. Alex will be doing as well. Jim will not be doing that. I can imagine. Most likely not.
I don't know. We'll see.
Shots in the dark for Jim. It's basketball, ladies and gentlemen. As a reminder, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at SportsJimMuff, Facebook, Sports Stuff, W/Jim _ Muff. Also on the YouTubes. Get into the game. Tell us what you think of the new segments. Give us some rando tasks to assign to our interns. If there is a date in sports history that you would like to highlight for us in the coming weeks, get at us. And as always, tell a friend, make a friend, be
a friend.